All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to Sports and Entertainment Talk. I am your co-host, host or co-host, whichever one you want to call me. So I'm Corey, aka Drop the Mic, because everything I say is controversial. On the other side, you've got Yeet, aka Fish Sticks, because everybody knows how much he loves fish sticks.
That's
Um,
our new trend. We're going to come up with new nicknames every episode. I love it.
I love it. So hey, this is our second episode of No Holds Barred, man. You ready to get into this? We're going to discuss Raw. We're going to discuss Smackdown and basically just some of the hot topics in wrestling this week.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot to talk about. We got Monday Night Raw and SmackDown to cover. So, without further ado, let's just get into it.
Okay. Well, I did want to do one thing before we do get started, just real quick, because I noticed that all of us, we're not dressing professionally and stuff like that. So I actually wanted to keep this channel actually really professional and show you how somebody should dress. Yeah, baby. All right.
What are we doing? What are we
How
doing?
you like the new fit, man?
I feel like you're trying to be like Kevin Owens on SmackDown.
I love it. And let's jump straight into it, man. So yeah, we have Raw on the 6th of November.
Yep.
Basically, they kicked it off. They did like a 10-minute recap of Saudi Arabia show, The Crown Jewel. I'm not going to really get into the whole 10 minutes, very beginning of the recap, just because we already actually put out a video on that. If you guys want to see it, go back and watch it. Let's just jump straight into the show. Seth Rollins kicks off the show, looking awesome. He's looking like look at a lemon head.
$1
Yep. So he kicked off the show. He did drop a name of Drew McIntyre. As soon as he said, I was like, oh no, here comes out Drew McIntyre. Didn't happen. Normally when somebody name drops a name, they come out. So it didn't work. But then right after that, he name dropped Sami Zayn. And ironically, Sami Zayn comes out to a huge
Well, you say he
ovation.
comes out. Seth Rollins called him out for one.
Yeah,
Asked
basically.
Sami Zayn to come out.
Yeah, and then he did give him a title shot. To me, honestly, that's just a typical way to start Raw. We need to find some better ways to start Raw. I mean, even if they want to dive into the vault and start off a better way, I mean, we can have somebody, like back in the day, somebody hit somebody with the car back in the day. We go on a couple-month mystery of who does it. Rikishi comes out, I did it for The Rock. We can do some funny stuff. We just need to find better ways to start it. Yeah, how was your ideas on the kicking off?
I do agree with you. It seems like every time Monday Night Raw or SmackDown kicks off, we get the big intro video at the beginning of the episode, and then there's that 5-second pause, and then somebody's music's gonna hit, and it always starts out with some kind of promo. Somebody's gonna come out and talk. Very rarely does it start out with a wrestling match. I would like to see WWE change it up. I do feel like it's kind of getting a little stale there. I was surprised that the whole heavyweight title shot on Monday Night Raw. I would tell you, as soon as Seth Rollins said, I'm going to give you a title shot, I knew Sami Zayn was going to be like, let's do it tonight. What better time than right here tonight? So that was awesome. The only thing that really gets me about that, man, is that could have been a main event of any pay-per-view, right? Sami Zayn is obviously well over. Seth Rollins is well over. Am I mad that he did as a main event of Monday Night Raw? Not really. I just think that there should have been a story there because it seems like that was just a one-time deal. I don't think we're going to go any further with that because obviously Sami Zayn's still tied up with the Judgment Day. I've said in a couple episodes before this, I would love to see Sami Zayn get away from the Judgment Day. I want to see Sami Zayn the main event picture. Why not give him a huge feud with Seth Rollins? Like, if you think about it, what feud has Seth Rollins really had? Like, he had the feud with Shinsuke Nakamura, which lasted, a couple months, but like we don't really get to see these big giant feuds. I think Sami Zayn and Seth Rollins would make a pretty good feud. I think a lot of people would like to see that one.
Yeah, I have a funny feeling they're saving Seth Rollins for a lot bigger things coming up soon, which is Survivor Series, but we've already talked about that.
Was that a CM Punk thing? Or we're talking about CM Punk here?
And I really liked how you caught the whole tie thing about Kevin Owens. I loved that, man.
Yeah.
But so the next we had a backstage segment with the Judgment Day. My just quick recap on that is just Dirty Dom's awesome. But next thing you know, it set up a match for the Judgment Day versus the New Day. The match started, New Day was in control, and here's what really pisses me off, and it comes back from commercial, and now Finn Balor's in control. Thanks, WWE. We really love it just to come back from commercial and someone else is getting their ass whooped. Can you give us a little bit of replays when we come back from the commercial break, or at least? But yeah.
Well, sometimes they do. Sometimes they do that. I said
yeah.
do.
Yeah, you did say you do. So another thing is Finn Balor and Priest. They ended up colliding in the match. It sounds like they're planting a lot of seeds for the breakup for the Judgment Day or someone from the Judgment Day. I'm not too sure on how that's going to play out. But yeah, your thoughts on that?
I think it's interesting that you say that they're planting seeds. I feel like those seeds have been planted months ago. There's been a bunch of conflict between Finn Balor and Damian Priest. I think it is only a matter of time. You know, the Judgment Day has this idea of there's no leader of the Judgment Day, which Rhea Ripley's the leader, let's be honest here. But that creates controversy between Finn Balor and Damian Priest, who are arguably both main event superstars. Damian Priest being the Money in the Bank contract holder, Finn Balor had this whole feud with Seth Rollins, and there's a whole conflict there. But I do think it's only a matter of time before Judgment Day breaks it up, and we're going to see some feud between Damian Priest and Finn Balor. I think it's definitely on the horizon there.
But who do you think is going to be the one that splits it up? Like, I mean, not splits it up, but who's going to be the one that leaves the group? You think it's going to be Damian Priest, or you think it's going to be Finn Balor?
So I think it depends on what. It really depends on who we're talking about. Who's going to be the heel? Who's going to be the baby face? I think they're going to turn Finn Balor into a baby face. So because of that, I think Damian Priest is going to be the one who caused it to split up, and then eventually it's going to turn Finn Balor into a baby face. I don't see Damian Priest going baby face anytime soon.
Yeah. So basically next up, so Finn Balor did end up winning the match with the coup de grace. That was pretty cool. But next up was a funny part that really cracked me up, which some things kind of frustrate me. She's sitting backstage waiting for a car to pull up. Oh God, it's Drew McIntyre. Like they have a GPS on these people or something. I think they need to fix that up too. Like maybe walking back through the backstage and then all of a sudden seeing the car pull up and just sitting instead of sitting right there. But yeah, she interviews Drew McIntyre. He gets out of the car. And he got his ass right back in the car and just took off. I thought that was pretty. Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny.
I mean, Drew McIntyre is obviously pissed off. I do see Drew McIntyre turning heel here pretty soon. I think it's only a matter of time. I think they need to turn him heel. I honestly don't like Drew McIntyre as a babyface. I just don't. The way he talks, he's a big dude. He's super athletic. Like the dude should be a heel. And he was much better as a heel at the, if you think about what was it, like a year and a half, 2 years ago when he was a heel before he had his championship title reign.
Yeah. I'm just waiting to see if what they're going to do with this contract. Still not signed. So they're going to obviously push him to the moon right now to get him to re-sign that contract. Again, in our last video, I said that's going to be a big free agent if he hits it. But yeah, so next up, we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Tozawa. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I love Tozawa, what they're doing with him now. He's underratedly funny. I love Tozawa. But yeah, so basically Shinsuke just beat the shit out of him with his knees. Yeah, and then after that, he hit the Kinshasa, he hit him with more knees than a brothel. That's what I'll say. But yeah, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I don't really have a whole lot to add to that. You pretty much covered what I would have talked about. I thought overall it was a pretty good match. I mean, anytime you put Shinsuke Nakamura in the ring, it's going to be gold. The dude he's just so good. So freaking good.
Well, then now you got the new the hot fling of the century. You got the Creed brothers up against DIY. Creed brothers win. Obviously, you're not going to let them lose right now. They're going to push them to the moon. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I saw them for the first time last Monday Night Raw. The in-ring ability, these guys are obviously super athletic. They're obviously like the modern day Kurt Angles. I was not impressed with the match though. If you actually go back and look at the match, there was a point in the match where it was just really weird. It was almost like they didn't know what they were supposed to do next, and it definitely was very noticeable to me. So definitely was not impressed. Do I think these guys have a future? Sure. I like to see where they're at with their promo skills. Really haven't seen much from them on the microphone. I think time will tell with these guys. They're obviously new and up and coming, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, they're not going to lose for a while. They're the new hot fling of the roster, I would say. Next up, you had Sami Zayn backstage watching a video of him losing to Roman Reigns, which is pretty funny. Like, who wants to watch that? I loved it. Jay Uso walks in, and then he also announces that him and Cody are going to be having a rematch for the tag titles. Yeah, I mean, you got any thoughts on that backstage segment? I mean, I just hate how they just predictably put stuff like comes in here and says, "Oh, next week we're going to have this match." I mean, there's no storyline buildup; it's just a match.
Yeah, I don't really. What is the storyline here, man? Like, there's so many people just feel. I mean, obviously you got Survivor Series coming up, so they got to do the whole War Games thing. You saw that at the end of Monday Night Raw, which I'm sure we're going to cover. I don't see them winning the tag team titles. Neither one of them need the tag team titles. Neither one of them need to be any tag team. I really hope that after Survivor Series, we're done with this crap. After Survivor Series, we're full-fledged WrestleMania season, right? Royal Rumble is going to be in January. Like, we need to put Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, main event Jey Uso. Like, these guys need to start branching away from each other. I'm tired of seeing them together. They're singles competitors. That's it. I get it. Survivor Series, sure. Let's get through Survivor Series, and then let's see what happens. We need to separate these guys. And really, they
Yeah,
need to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the Judgment Day.
yeah, I'm actually really glad you just said that, because this is literally my next note that I had for this, which is really irritating me right now. You have Survivor Series up right now. Okay, next month, there's really no pay-per-view at all other than an NXT
Yeah, which is kind of
pay-per-view.
weird. It's a
But
little
it's
weird
what's
to me.
really pissing me off right now watching this is you have Survivor Series coming up, but yet you have Becky Lynch coming out there. You had Piper Niven. You had Chelsea Green. Everybody coming out there and basically in those backstage segments saying we're entering in for the Royal Rumble. Okay, we get it. You have 2 months to do this. Like 2 months after this month, after Survivor Series, you have 2 months. Like, come on, let's put some spotlight on Survivor Series. Why are they worried about a pay-per-view that's coming up in almost 3 months right now? That kind of
Yeah.
irritates me. Wasting backstage segments for people that could actually use it. That stuff does irritate me.
Well, the part I'll add into that, Corey, is you got to remember Monday Night Raw is 3 hours, so they got to fill the episode. So I get it from a writing perspective. I do agree that you got a 3 hour show. Like, put some more matches. Give some of these younger talents the opportunity to rise. You know what I mean? You got this whole thing, which we're going to talk about on SmackDown with Cedric Alexander and the Dragon Lee. These two are killing it in the ring. Put on a freaking absolute spectacle. Why not give some more guys the opportunity to do stuff like that? You know what I mean? Give them the opportunity to connect with the fans.
Yeah, I did think it was pretty funny too when Shazler showed up in Chelsea Green's part, and yeah, it looks like Shayna Baszler just wants to kill Chelsea Green. She's great on the social media, but yeah.
Here's a thought on
So
Shayna Baszler, real quick before we move on. Give Shayna Baszler a manager. She is literally like the women's version of Brock Lesnar. She is just badass. She has an MMA experience. I actually like her better than I like Ronda Rousey, to be honest with you. Sorry if you guys don't agree with that. The only thing is she's not really good on the mic, but neither was Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean? Like, give her a good manager.
it's
Where
not
are
that
the women's managers at?
yeah, I don't think that it's that she's. I think is what it is she has this lisp when she talks, and she's got this weird like pitched tone to her voice. I think that's what's holding her back on the mic. But speaking of the women, next up was the Battle Royal at the very beginning. Zaya attacked Becky Lynch. And
Yeah,
she
I'm
got
not really
eliminated.
sure what's going on there.
Yeah, and that kind of frustrated me too. I mean, we saw, I mean, just for example, Mankind and The Rock at Survivor Series, and he beat the shit out of him with that chair, like 50 shots to the head, and that match continued, but she gets a little beat up in the very beginning, can't enter back in. But yeah, basically after the Battle Royal, Zoe Stark wins. She goes backstage because Rhea's cutting a promo. Zoe comes up there. My just prediction for this, I'm already going to make my prediction for this match. Yeah, Rhea's going to kill her. But
Yeah, there's no way Rhea's dropping the title to Zoe Starks. I was surprised that Zoe Starks won. I just don't see it, man. Like, I think she needs more time. And they're already giving her a main event title shot. This is a problem in the women's division, right? You have very few women who are stars. And then the other ones are just kind of just tagging along for the ride. You got the Charlotte Flairs, the Asuka, Bianca Belair. What are we doing with the rest of the women's division? And the problem here is that there's no feuds. Where's the feuds at? Where's the actual stories? You know what I mean? Like, there's just nothing going on with the women's division. And you throw this random battle royal, and then Zoe Stark, she came out of this whole thing with Trish Stratus, which we did nothing with, by the way. She attacked Trish Stratus after Trish Stratus' last match, and then that was the end of it. Sure, okay, right, moving on. But then we're gonna give Zoe Starks this huge push. I will tell you, after she won the battle royal, I wasn't too happy about it. I thought there was other talents that probably could have taken that win. But then she did a backstage interview with Rhea Ripley, and I thought that actually went pretty well. I thought the backstage interview where she got in Rhea's face after doing a backstage interview, Zoe Stark definitely stood her ground. It looked pretty intense. We'll see what happens. I think this is going to be a one and done. Rhea Ripley's going to defend the title. She's going to beat Zoe Starks, and Rhea Ripley's going to move on from it, which is unfortunate because once again, In the women's division, we're not telling stories here. We're just booking match after match, and we're just shoving it down our throats.
Well, I mean, we got WrestleMania season coming up. So hopefully we get some long built out storylines, hopefully. But yeah, next up on the card, we basically had Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn. The one thing that irritated me, obviously they're both great wrestlers. One thing that irritated me about this is seeing all the dives and just all of the high flying moves and the backbuster off the side apron on it. I thought Seth Rollins has a bad back. Why are you doing so many dives? Why? I mean, it's stick to the storylines or just say your back's better. That's just my personal opinion on it. And then right after the Judgment Day attacks, Jay Uso comes out, then Cody Rhodes, and then Adam Pearce comes out and announces War Games.
Yeah, predictable.
Yeah, because we already knew the title of the pay-per-view, Survivor Series War Games. Like, come on, dude.
Especially when it's like, you all want to keep playing games? We can play games. I was like, okay. I will give Adam Pearce props, though. The promo he cut was pretty intense. For a guy who's not, a main event star, he's just, the general manager of Monday Night Raw. I actually thought he cut a pretty good promo on that. It was super intense. I enjoyed it. I do agree it was super predictable. As soon as everybody interfered in the match, and it was like, okay, we're setting up for Survivor Series. I mean, literally, you saw the same thing on SmackDown. It was just predictable, super predictable.
So just to cap up Raw, okay, you're the guy with the number powers. I mean, give Raw a rating 1 out of 10, man. What would you say?
I thought you got to rank it pretty high because they had a heavyweight title match on there, which you don't get to see those very often. I do have mixed feelings on that. I think that could have been a pay-per-view match. I thought the Shinsuke match was pretty good. The lack of storytelling is what's really killing me right now. I'm going to give Monday Night Raw a solid 6 out of 10, man.
All right, I'm sticking to it. Moving on to SmackDown, man. This kind of irritated me in the very beginning as well. Kevin Owens comes out to start the show. So basically they announced before the show, actually on Twitter, the Facebooks and all that stuff, or the X's, whatever you want to call it, that Corey Graves is actually having a baby. So Kevin Owens is going to fill in for him. Yeah, so that kind of went wild. So that was basically the start of it. But then it jumps into the LWO, comes out. There was no Carlito at first, so I was even a little bothered by that because I was like, I thought he's supposed to be part of the LWO. Comes out, Carlito basically made Santos look like a little bitch and said, hey, it's your fault. You're the reason that Ray lost, and you got any thoughts on that before you actually get into the match? Because it was Carlito versus Bobby Lashley.
Well, for one, the match was awesome. We'll get into the match here in a second. So, Carlito comes out and blames Santos, and it's like, for what? Santos stopped him from the original handing of the brass knuckles. And then it's like, okay, so he chases the dude out of the...
He threw it back in the ring, remember?
No, well, the other guy threw it back in the ring. Yeah, but he still chased the guy off. So if you really think about it, I don't know. I don't think there was any story there. I think Carlito was just instigating a situation that, I will tell you, I have a lot of mixed feelings on this whole thing. If you watched our earlier episode, I went on a big old rant about where the hell was the storyline between Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio when Rey Mysterio won the title after Santos Escobar was injured. And then Rey Mysterio drops the title to Paul Logan, which was great. I enjoyed it. But then after the fact, now Santos is going to attack Rey Mysterio, and we're going to have this big feud between Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. The feud should have been for the United States Championship. So there's my rant for the day. That was bullshit. We dropped the ball on that one. WWE, what the hell were you thinking? 100% had a story there. There was a story there.
Yeah. First of all, his name's Logan Paul. Logan Paul, not Paul Logan.
What did I say?
You said Paul Logan.
Sorry, I was all my thoughts.
Yeah, so the Carlito versus Bobby Lashley, I mean, it is what it is. Bobby Lashley won. It set up the end for Santos to turn on Ray, attack Carlito. Santos Escobar is full heel right now. He's a son of a bitch. So, I mean, that's basically the point. The match was pointless because it was setting up for that.
Which was kind of a weird turn, too, because it almost like it wasn't supposed to happen. And then Rey Mysterio got pissed off at Santos for allowing Carlito to get jumped. And then that's what set Santos off. So I was like, okay, was he actually going to turn on him until Rey Mysterio got in his face? So you could argue it kind of went both ways, right? I will tell you with the Carlito versus Bobby Lashley match, the one that stuck out to me was when Bobby Lashley put Carlito in the superplex, right, and just held it, and then Carlito reversed it and took Bobby Lashley up. You don't see
Yeah,
that very often. He manhandled Bobby Lashley. I thought that was an awesome spot in that match, and the fans loved it. They ate that shit up.
yeah. Going on to the next thing, to be honest with you, you've been saying this the whole time, but basically the storyline build up for this next part. I honestly just captioned this next one, just women's shit happened. Kairi Sane comes out, joined Damage Control. I mean, we get it. You really have too much to talk on that?
Well, I mean, there's obviously a story there going on there, right? And you see it in the main event. For one, the six tag women's match in the main event, the match itself was fun. I don't really think that should have been the main event. I think there should have been a different main event, right? We didn't really see anything from the bloodline. But as soon as Asuka came out to team up with Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair, I knew it. I was like, what? Literally, Asuka's a heel. She's been a heel this entire time. And now she's going to team up with two baby faces to go against Damage Control. I just wasn't buying it. And then we had the 6-tag women's match, and I was like, okay, something's going to happen here. And then, of course, it did. Yeah, I didn't really care much for the spot. I thought it was kind of weird how Bayley called him out. I was like, this isn't part of the plan. You could argue that Bayley's up to something. She's been up to something this entire time. For one, Bayley's the leader of Damage Control, so Bayley should be the women's champion, and she's not. So there's a story there. And honestly, I just don't like Sky as the champion. I just don't. I don't care for it. I think that she's good in the ring, but there's no story there. There's just nothing special about her title reign so far. And every single time she defends the title, it's just the same thing. It's Bayley interfering and helping her win the title. For what? Is Bayley going to turn on her and then Bayley's going to be willing to take this title from her? Probably. I think that's what's going to end up happening eventually, but we'll see what happens.
It just kind of reminds me of the Bloodline storyline. I mean, just everybody's always got to interrupt. That's how Roman Reigns wins every single time. You got Solo. Same thing that's going on with this one. Becky steps in, helps. I mean, not Becky. But everybody's basically just stepping in and helping right now, and it's kind of annoying to me. Yeah, I'm kind of over this whole women's stuff. They need to build better storylines, maybe put some more.
Yeah, there's just no stories, man.
Yeah. Next up, you had Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander. That match is what it sounds like it's going to be. It's going to be a good, high-flying match. Good spots. It's either perfect for a Monday Night Raw, a SmackDown, or a pre-show. And it is what it is. Do you have any thoughts on that match?
Yeah, I thought the match was really good. The match better have been good, right? That's what the match is for. It's for them to just, really just show the fans what they can do in the ring. I like Cedric Alexander. I think he has a good personality. I think he's super phenomenal in the ring. The league, so Dragon Lee, right? Let's talk about him for a second. WWE always does this, right? They cut promos for a couple weeks, if not a couple months, and they're hyping, this new guy that's coming to Raw or coming to SmackDown, right? Dragon Lee obviously being on NXT. And then he shows up. He's a freaking luchador. And they do what they always do with luchadors. He's literally no different than Rey Mysterio, except for Rey Mysterio actually cuts promos. I really want to see the luchador realm of wrestling start bringing stories into it. If you think about it, with this whole Dragon Lee thing, there's no story behind it. It's a new guy who shows up, who's really good in the ring. Well, guess what? Every other luchador that's ever been on WWE roster has been good in the ring. But it's like, okay, what do we do? Like, where's the story? WWE is just lacking with the storytelling, right? They only have a good handful of stories going on for them right now. And I think that I'd like to see some story go on with Dragon Lee. It's the same shit. I'm just tired of seeing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I feel like they use them as like little attractions. Oh, you want to get your little fix to see somebody jump high or do a flip or something like that. Here's your attraction.
Oh, we see it every week, man. Every week. I know. That's all we do.
Storylines would be good. I think they can be a lot better. Next up, you actually had LA Knight come out to the ring, and he actually said something to us that I was completely shocked. He said he wanted to talk to us. And he did. He talked.
Let me talk to you. I got a lot to say about this promo.
Yes, I'm getting so irritated though. Like that's how you start. There's got to be better ways going it because the shtick's gonna get old really, really, really quick.
It already is.
Yes.
If you actually go on Facebook and Instagram, there's already people making fun of LA Knight. So it's like the fans.
Yeah, they gotta figure something out right now. He actually comes. He blames Jimmy Uso for that. Says he got robbed. Then Grayson Waller comes out. Kangaroo Jack himself, Mr. Ozzy. They cut a couple jokes on each other. I thought the school joke was pretty awesome. But yeah, LA Knight knew who game it was and just basically beat the shit out of them. And then next thing you know, you come back from a commercial break and yeah, they're having a match. Was not expecting that. But it is what it is. LA Knight versus Grayson Waller. Yeah, LA Knight obviously wins. They're trying to keep his momentum going. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
All right, so let's talk about LA Knight here for a second, right? So if you think about the feud that he had with the Miz, right, which I thought was awesome. Anytime you put the Miz in the mix, it's just awesome. Miz said some really true words though. You know, he's basically a modern day Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's basically trying to be like the old school guys, The Rock, Stone Cold, right? So I pulled up my laptop here and I took some notes from his promo, right? So we're gonna talk about this here for a second.
What was that on your web browser?
Shut up, fool. It's
I'm
my,
just kidding.
my Yahoo. All right. So with LA Knight, this is what happens. He comes out and he starts it out by saying, "Let me talk to you." All right. You know who else does that? Paul Heyman. My name is Paul Heyman. Right. So basically, he really is just coming up with these catchphrases that people are just getting behind. And you're absolutely right. Eventually, the fans are going to see what's going on. They're going to exploit him. So he does a "let me talk to you," which is basically his way of starting out because now it's a catchphrase for him. He says it all the damn time, right? So then he goes into the huh, Who does that, Corey? How about the what? It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? And then the whole "let me talk to you," right? And then he gets into the not making, like, he starts out this promo with, "I'm not going to make excuses." Like, you guys probably think I'm going to come out here and talk about how I got screwed over and whose game is this really? And then he blames it on Jimmy Uso. He literally just went on a big old rant about how Jimmy Uso is the whole reason he's not the champion right now. LA Knight, Jimmy Uso is not the reason why you're not. If you think you're the only one that's been screwed over by the bloodline, bro, you need to watch the last 3 years. Roman Reigns is the champion because of the bloodline. If you didn't have a game plan going into this match, knowing that you were going to have some kind of interference to deal with, then you're an idiot. You didn't belong in that match if that's your thought, right? Like, that's what the hell are we doing, LA Knight? You're going to blame it on Jimmy Uso, even though you said you're not going to make excuses? Well, it sounds like you made excuses, buddy. So I don't know what the hell that was all about. And then, Grayson Waller interferes. I love Grayson Waller. That dude's freaking hilarious. They did, LA Knight, he can talk on the mic, dude. But come on, man. Let's be original here. You have the fans behind you. Now is your chance to be yourself. And stop coming up with all these catchphrases that are literal ripoffs. The ripoffs of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the ripoffs of Paul Heyman, the ripoff of The Rock, the greatest of all times, right? Like, got it, dude. Be yourself, man. That's all I got. The dude can talk on the mic. So let's take advantage of that. Stop giving me these bullshit catchphrases. The fans are going to get bored with it.
Yeah, my biggest highlight of that match was when Kevin Owens on commentary reviewed the double face punch to Grayson Waller.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah,
Kevin
so that was
Owens
my
is
biggest
freaking
thing.
Hilarious.
Yeah, and then next up, this is basically my notes for it. Yep, the women's shit is back on. I'm just getting frustrated with it. We need to, like what you said earlier, they need to build more stars because this whole women's stuff going around, it's the same. It's the same shtick every single time. It's just never ending.
Yeah.
Come up with the new stars. In the very end, the misfits of women, that's what I'm gonna call them, the misfits. Damage Control. Yeah, they stand tall in the end. Yeah, you got any thoughts on the very end?
No, I mean, I thought the match was fine. There's nothing bad about the match. Anytime you put Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair in a match together, there's star power there. I absolutely love Charlotte Flair. I love Bianca Belair. I love Asuka too. I love Asuka as a heel. This is obviously setting up for War Games. There's going to be some kind of War Games between Damage Control. I will tell you, I have no idea who their partner is going to be. They're down one. Asuka turned her back on us, and now we got Charlotte and Bianca. I mean, really, you need two more partners? Or no? So Shotzi interfered in the match. Which, what the hell was Shotzi even thinking? Shotzi just I don't know what the hell you're laughing at over there.
Sorry, my wife was over here. She was bending over, getting the dish, and she was it's just a long story. Go ahead.
All right, nice. So yeah, Shotzi comes to the ring, which I thought was super weird. No fan pop whatsoever. I don't know what the hell's going on with her hair. She hops in the ring and then literally just gets beaten up. Like it was like she got in the ring. It was almost like slow motion. She comes to the ring and just gets her ass whipped, and she's just like, "Oh, now I'm beat up. I guess I'm in War Games now." Like, why are you even in the ring, Shotzi? Like, where did you come from? Why did you think you need to interfere? Like, you're not involved in any of this. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, I don't know who the fourth partner is going to be. I just don't know. Obviously, you got Becky Lynch, but is she going to have this feud based off getting attacked on Monday Night Raw? Who knows? If you look online right now, the Bleacher Report's reporting that it's rumor that Becky Lynch is going to be their fourth partner. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe they'll push some new stars like they should. Like maybe they're trying to push Shotzi. I don't know. I just thought it was totally random that she just came out and got her ass whipped, and there was no point to that. What the hell are we doing?
Yep.
Well, there you go. That's SmackDown. We just recapped SmackDown. Go ahead, ask me to rank it, Corey, because it ain't going to be high.
So you gave Raw a 6 out of 10? Was it 6 out of 10?
Yeah, I gave Raw 6 out of 10.
All right, what you giving Crapdown? I mean SmackDown.
Crapdown is getting the floor. First of all, there's no Paul Heyman. There's no Jimmy Uso, right? There was no storytelling whatsoever. You kind of set up for some.
So that's actually was going to be my last thing I was going to say on SmackDown. The funniest part was there was a video that came out of Jimmy Uso backstage, and he's basically like doing his little thing, cutting his promo. At the very end, he goes, "Yeet," and then right away he gets a phone call. He's like, "Yes, Tribal Chief," and then it hangs up, and then he gets all serious and he goes, "No, Yeet." I thought that was the best part of SmackDown.
They are building like the whole thing where Roman Reigns hates it when he says "yeet," which is pretty funny. Let's be honest here, man. So all right, so we've already recapped it. I gave it a 4 out of 10. SmackDown, in my opinion, was pretty boring for the most part. There were some good matches, but not a lot of good storytelling. So let's talk about some other stuff, man. Let's get into predictions for the Royal Rumble. Let's just go with it. Right now, where we're at, we're about 2.5, 3 months away. Are you ready to give me your prediction of who's winning the men's and women's Royal Rumble?
I can give you my early predictions.
Let's call it early predictions. Just real quick, right off the top.
Yeah, okay. So I don't want to spend too much time on it because we only got about 5 minutes left. But I'd probably say my early prediction. I'd probably say Gunther.
Gunther, really? That's a good one. That's a good one. I was not thinking Gunther. I'm going Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes is going to take it. The women's Royal Rumble, I have no idea. I don't know. I just don't know. There's no good stories right now, so I don't know who the hell is going to win the women's Royal Rumble. We'll see. Maybe freaking Ronda Rousey's coming back or something. Who knows? Becky Lynch probably.
That's pretty bad. That we're sitting here with Survivor Series up in a couple of weeks, and we're sitting here talking about the Royal Rumble, and it's not us doing this. It's them doing this. The way they do their storyline and stuff like that. They're already talking about the Royal Rumble. We care more about that than Survivor Series because they're not putting the full each show invested into Survivor Series. I mean, it seems like they're basically packing their bags and ready. Yep.
It's the Thanksgiving Classic, right? We got to do Survivor Series, so we're not going to put any effort into storytelling here. All right, I know we only got a couple minutes left before we got to get offline here. I have one question for you. Do you think CM Punk is coming back in Survivor Series?
I do.
Yes or no? You do?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he's messing around on Twitter too right now. You saw what he said to, which I put it in the group chat. He basically replied to Grayson Waller's stuff about saying he's the best on commentary. Yeah, I think he's coming back. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
There has been a lot of things all over. I've seen it all over social media. There was one picture I saw. It was either Jimmy or Jay Uso. I can't remember which one it was, but they were basically standing in front of a poster board, and it had the stars, and they were the same exact stars as CM Punk wears on his trunks, right? And so it was like one of those things like, oh, is WWE throwing like little tiny teasers in to say CM Punk is coming back to Survivor Series? I will tell you, I'm on the fence about it right now. I do think there is a chance that he's coming back, but I think it's a very small chance. I think it's a very small chance.
Well,
it'd be great.
I think it's going to honestly happen because they're already spending so much time on Royal Rumble. They're like, hey, we got CM Punk coming back. People are going to tune in to watch it. That's just my big belief on it. But yeah, so that's our recap of Monday Night Raw, Friday Night Smackdown, Crapdown, whatever you guys want to call it.
It was a boring week.
You guys are still sticking around for the channel. Thank you guys for joining Sports and Entertainment Talk. This was another episode of, what's it called, Keith?
No Holds Barred.
And what do
See you
you
next
love?
time. I love wrestling.
He loves fish sticks. All right. Hey, Keith, before we
Hey,
end this,
I get next week's nickname. I got
yeah,
your nickname for next week.
I'm
My
hoping
turn,
it's going to be
bitch.
really good. If you guys like the video, like, subscribe. Don't do it. Do it. Tell a friend. Don't tell a friend. I'm okay with it. I'm just going to cap this off with no yeet.